Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today is quite a special day. Today we've took delivery of something that's not been on the channel for a while. This car has been missing in action for around 6 months. It's now finally back. I took delivery of this car this morning, so let's have a look, shall we? There she is, the Ferrari 328 GTS is finally back from the paint shop and back on the channel. Now I know some of you guys are going to say, why is it blue? It's blue because it is a Ferrari blue. They did actually make these 328s in this particular blue, and we do like to be different. Now I can guarantee you one thing, I bet that paint finish on that car is better than it was when it came out of Ferrari in the 80s, because they were never perfect when they came out of the factory. But that looks absolutely mint. Now I have given it a quick hosing off. I've stayed away from all the electrical stuff. I've just given a quick hosing off around the exterior of the body because it has been sat in the paint shop for a while. It's gathered quite a lot of dust. It has been flattened and polished, so there's been dust sort of everywhere. So I've just hosed it down just to get all the dust and bits of crap off it basically. But look at that. Now the doors are still currently just on loosely, and they do move a bit obviously, so the door gaps all need setting and all the panel gaps need realigning. That's something obviously we're going to get to in the very near future. All the engine bay has been sort of stone chipped, but I will be doing this again. Wants a little bit of detailing in here, but I mean the engine bay is pretty damn clean to be fair. Under here we're just going to be doing little bits and bobs like painting this cover. We'll get a stencil to put the Ferrari back on this air box. This is all worn off, so this needs redoing. Little bits of touch up on the intake and just sort of around the perimeter. It's all going to be stone chipped again, all in the back. We've got to stone chip and treat and protect all the inside. Although you don't see any of this, it's just nice to have it all done so we know it's all nice under there as well. While we're at this point, just makes sense to get that done. The steering wheel is going to be sent off for re-levering, re-trimming basically. It's getting all new carpets throughout. It is having blue carpet with the cream leather Ferrari seats. So yeah, there we go. Plenty to do on this one. So we'll probably start off with making sure it still runs, because this car left here in the first week of December. So it's been away for around 6 months or so. So it's not been run for quite a while. So before I start getting into rebuilding it and everything, obviously I'm going to fire it up, make sure it still runs, make sure everything's good there, make sure it's not developed any issues, any running issues or leaks or anything like that. Then we're going to be looking at sort of fuel pipes and that sort of thing. The paint shop have still got the front bumper, the headlights, the bonnet, if you want to call it a bonnet or a trunk or whatever you want to call it. Obviously the engine is in the back. The boot lid or engine cover, trunk lid, again, whatever you want to call it. Paint shop have still got that, so, and the mirrors as well. So there's still a few bits that we're waiting to come back from the paint shop, but I just wanted to get the car back so at least I can start to work on the shell while the paint shop are finishing off the last few bits of panel work and stuff like that. So yeah, looking forward to getting stuck into this. Been waiting for this day for 6 months for this car to come back from the paint shop, and that day has finally come. So I'm going to push it in the garage, get it over the pit. I'll work out a plan, see where we're going to start with this. Obviously get it running, but we need a plan then going forward as to what order we're going to start to do the work on this car. I've got all the backlights and everything to go back in it yet as well. So yeah, let's get it over the pit, let's get it in this garage. Right, so we're back in the unit. So I'm just going to pop the battery lead on, and then hopefully this battery's still got some charge in it. It was a brand new battery before it went to the paint shop, so hoping it should still be good. Wedge that in there. Does need a bolt in. Now, one of the things I do need to address on this still as well is this ignition cap. It is a little bit mashed up inside there, and it doesn't actually attach to the back of the barrel, because that, you see there's a little bit of plastic broke off it. So I do need to buy a new one of these. So at the minute I am using a screwdriver. So I'll set you up on the stand. Let's get the screwdriver in there and see if she will actually fire up. Right, so I've just done a quick check of the oil and the water. The oil level is good, the water level is good. Let's see if she fires up. Not bad for a first start up for 6 months. She is running cold there as well, so bear that in mind. It's a little bit lumpy, but hopefully that'll smooth out as it warms up. Now this is a Ferrari blue. They did make the 328 in this colour. I think it's pronounced Blue Chiaro Metallic. Might have got that pronunciation wrong, but that's basically how it's spelt. Quite a rare colour, and it does stand out quite a lot from your usual red Ferrari. Now, as you know, we do like to be different on this channel and do things that other people probably wouldn't do, but you know, there's a lot of red Ferraris around, not many blue ones, so we opted for this colour on this particular car. And I think it's come out absolutely fantastic. Now this car actually went to the paint shop on the first week of December 2024, and we've literally only just got this car back. The paint shop has been extremely busy, but I think it was worth waiting for because the paint job is absolutely fantastic. So I'd like to give a massive shout out to John and Jordan over at Total Smart Solutions in Norden, which is in Rochdale. They've done the paint job and the prep on this car, so thank you very much for that. If any of you guys need any smart repairs, panel work, or any accident damage repairs, do give John a shout at Total Smart Solutions of Rochdale. So let's get into some of the bits and bobs that still need to be done on this car. As you can see, it is still quite stripped down. There is tons and tons of work to do on this. Now previously, remember, we did replace all those relays, so I'm hoping that most of the electrical stuff will still work on this. We did check the majority of the electrics before we sent it off for paint, just to minimise issues when it comes back from paint, but we will be checking certain things again. One of the issues we did have was we only had indicators working on one side and not the other, and we put that down to the flasher unit. Now I haven't actually been able to find a flasher unit yet, so I'm still on the hunt for one of those. Hopefully we can get that pretty soon and get those indicators working. We've got bits of stuff like this to figure out, bits of wiring that we need to work out what it does, where it goes, what it's for. The ignition cap is damaged in there as well. That's been snapped off the back. We do have an intact ignition barrel and key, however where it goes inside that barrel there, it has snapped off, so it doesn't actually make a contact through the rod between the key and this cap, so we do need to find another one of them, and I think these are about 750 quid. So I will be seeing if we can find an alternative for that. Hopefully it is on other makes and models. But yeah, we'll look into that, see what we can find. Now we did treat and paint a lot of this stuff under here before it went to the paint shop, but we will be sort of going over some of this stuff again and cleaning it up and possibly repainting some of that as well, just to make it all nice and fresh again. We've got the headlights to go in once we get those back from the paint shop. I'm pretty nervous about fitting these, to be honest, because they are a bit of a pain to get them to line up and have the gap perfect all the way around here, so all the panel gaps are right. So that's something we're going to come back to once they come back from the paint shop. Again, they've still got the front bumper, so we can't put that on yet. We've got the mirrors that need to go on. We do need to paint the mirrors in satin black before we can fit those as well. We can fit the side repeaters and start wiring those up. We've got the door handles to go on. We've got the door locks to go back in. We've got all the louvers, side vents, grills, whatever you want to call them, that need painting. They also need to go on. And then also we've also got all the backlights to deal with and all the wiring around there. So I think to start with, guys, today we're going to have to go and have a look through this mountain of stuff up here, which I'll just show you now. So we are quite tight for space in this workshop, and this bottom shelf is all the stuff that came with the Ferrari. Now bear in mind, I didn't actually strip this car down. It came in boxes of bits basically and was already stripped, so this is going to be a massive challenge for me trying to figure out what goes where. But we do have the help of a full workshop manual which breaks down everything, where everything goes down to each nut, bolt, clip and washer, so that should be quite useful for us. So I think we're going to start by pulling some of this stuff out, getting it on the bench, having a look through what sort of stuff we're going to be needing sort of now, and then we can put everything else back that we're not going to need until a later date back in these boxes, put them back on the shelf out of the way, because we are quite stuck for room, workable room in here. This is pretty much the only clear bench I have got to work with, so at the moment I'm just going to get stuff out, put it on this bench, stuff that I'm going to need now, like the backlights, door locks, door handles, those sort of things. Get them out, get them clean, get them ready to go on. So I'm going to start digging through all this stuff now, guys. Let's get this out and let's see what we've got and what we can start with. Right, so we've got some stuff laid out there now. Some of this stuff we won't be using just yet, but basically I just needed to make a little bit of room in those boxes so I can see what I've got and what I'm dealing with. So I'll just pull some stuff out of there just so I can get into the bottom of those boxes. Now, I think what we're going to start with is these backlights. As you can see, these are quite dirty. They've been in storage for quite some time. So I think we'll give these a cleaning up. We'll give these a good washing off, and then we'll start to mount these on the car, and then we can have a look at the wiring, let's get them plugged in, see if we can get these to actually work. Right guys, so we've got our lenses cleaned up there. They've come up pretty well, hell of a lot better than they was. We've also got some new machine screws and washers, which is what's going to fasten these to the car. So we're going to be replacing these. The old nuts and washers was quite rusty, so we're going to be putting all new nuts and washers on these. So let's get them on the car, shall we? Right, so that's our backlights on. Let's put the battery lead on and see if they work. Happy days, yes they do work. Now I ain't going to bother trying the indicators just yet because I know they're not going to work. Because currently, as I said before, there is no flasher unit in this car, so hopefully when we do get a flasher unit, the indicators will work as well. But for now, that'll do. Let's move on to the next bit. I think I'm going to try and get this little grille on there that goes on the bottom of the back bumper and goes between the exhausts. So that's our lower grille on. Now I just realised what I did want to do was fit these spotlights before I put that on. There is quite a gap there, so we can still actually access those fog lights, but I've just actually noticed that these do not appear to fit the car. So these must be off a different model, or just not Ferrari at all. They are a Bosch unit. So that means I'm now going to have to find some rear fog lights for this, which I don't think is going to be very easy, but we'll have a look. There is a company online called Superformance, and I'm hoping that they actually do these, so I'm going to get on the website tonight and have a look if they supply these. If not, I'll have to get on some forums and Facebook pages and see if anyone could point me in the right direction where we get these rear fog lights from. But anyway, that's that. We'll leave that for now, and I'm going to move on now. And one thing that I've been itching to do since I got this car back is put the Ferrari badge on there, and that is what I'm going to do next. So this is the original badge off this car, and I've been itching to get this on since it came back from the paint shop, so here we go. Oh yes. Got the two original little nuts that go on the back. Let's pop those on. Right, so I think the next thing we're going to look at is actually getting this dash top in. Now you might notice there, I have blacked out the top of this dash now. I do need to do all the floors and everything still. I can do that again at a later date. It's just a matter of masking everything out. I've got to mask the whole car out when I'm painting that floor anyway. We're only going to do it in some stone chip. So while I'm masking the whole car out, I can just cover the dash up. Right, so before I put this dash top in, I actually need to mount these clocks, which sit in this gap here. Something like that. So that's going to mount there. Now there is quite a few little lights and stuff that need to go inside this dash. Now I can't put them in just yet because we actually need to go through these holes to get to our fixing screws. Once we've got this mounted, then it's a case of figuring out where all these lights go and which position they go into. Right, so unfortunately guys, it looks like I've actually got to put the dash top in first and then put the binnacle in. So there we go. If you're going to do a job, may as well do it twice. But again, this is the first time I've ever worked on one of these cars, guys. I did not take this car apart, so this is all completely new to me and I'm just learning as I go along, so be it. It is what it is. We'll set that out, put the dash top in and then put the clocks back in. But again, this is what our channel's all about. We show you the good and the bad. We don't just make everything look like it goes smoothly. So let's pop that back out. Let's get this dash top in. Okay, let's try again with this dash top. Okay, so after a second attempt, it actually looks like we're going to have to drop the steering column off because it's really tight trying to get that dash past that steering column. So I'm just going to lower that down now and hopefully, third time lucky. So it's just dawned on me, guys, I've dropped the steering column there, and I've just realised I actually have a new lower steering column bearing for this car, so I think it just makes sense now, while I'm at this point the steering column's half off, I may as well remove the rest of it, drop this new bearing in, and then get the dash top in. So there is our old steering column bearing. As you can see, that is really gunked up to death. And it's actually pretty damn solid in the middle. It doesn't move or swivel at all. So that's for the bin. Let's get our new one in. Right, well that was a hell of a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Access was quite difficult under there. There's not a lot of room to climb into that footwell, and obviously you've got the gear stick and all that sort of stuff stabbing you in the back while you're trying to do it. So not the most comfortable job I've ever done, but it's done. So let's try again now to get this dash top in. Well, that's much easier with the steering wheel out of the way. So now let's figure out how it bolts down. Right guys, so it looks like the fixing bolts are actually through the side of the door pillar there and there, and same again on the other side. Now there is a little metal plate inside there which captivates the bolts, so basically there's a little metal plate that sandwiches between the dash top and that door pillar. So got a couple of bolts there to put in, so let's get this fastened up. Right, so that is our dash top in. I'm now going to attempt to get these clocks back in and then fasten the steering column back up. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky trying to get this back in. I've got to feed the wires down there, route them correctly, plug them back in and make sure they don't foul on any of the steering columns. Obviously when we're turning we don't want this to be catching, pulling, snagging the wires. Let's feed these down here. out of here. Ow. Right, so that is the dash in, and I'm not going to lie guys, that was pretty tricky, pretty difficult and very, very uncomfortable. Now I just hope and pray that none of you guys start to say that dash has got to come back out because such and such thing needs to go in first. So please do not do that to me guys, because I do not want to be taking this dashboard out again. Now I do have a question. If anybody knows what order these little lights go in, I'm not sure if they're correct. Again, I've never built one of these cars before, so I do need to do some research on where certain things go and what order certain things go in. Still lots and lots of stuff to do on this car. Now if you've been following this build from the beginning, you will have seen that we rebushed all the front end, all the shocker bushes and everything was replaced, and all the upper and lower arm bushes was replaced. Now we need to do that again on the rear because we never got time to do that before the car went to the body shop. So we've got to strip all these rear wheels off, take all the arms off, shockers out, and we've got to rebush all that. So that's another thing yet to do. Tom, my body man, is coming in over the next few days. He's going to start to paint out all the floors in stone chip, get all this inside blacked out and make all that nice. Hopefully then I can start to put the glass in. Rear quarter glass can go in. Hopefully the front screen can go in and the side louvers can go in as well. We do need to paint those louvers in satin black before they go on. There's lots of satin black stuff that still needs to be painted on this car, like all the edging trim, the targa top, and other various bits and bobs that also need blacking out or painted in satin black. I think one of the next things I will be doing as well is starting to look into building these doors up. Obviously we need to get the electric motors put in both doors, we need to get the speakers put in. We've got lots of wiring to tidy up and deal with. Now a lot of these plugs down here go into the center console, but obviously I can't put that in yet until the floor's all painted out, and also we need to send the full interior off to the trimmer because we're having all the carpet changed. Currently the carpet is in red and we need to be changing that carpet colour to blue, and also the leather seats need restoring and making nice and clean again. Once all that is back from the trimmer, we can obviously start to get all that put in and reroute all this wiring down into the centre console, plug everything in, make sure everything works, and obviously start to get the door cards on and all that sort of stuff. So we got all the backlights fastened up, all wired in, got the badge on, got that lower grille on, and that back end is looking very, very nice indeed. We do need to get these wheels refurbed as well. As you can see, they're not bad, but I think obviously with the car being fully restored and repainted, there is just a few little scuffs and tiny little chips on these wheels, and I think obviously inevitably we will need to get these painted just so it matches the rest of the car. The paint shop have contacted me today and they said that I should have the headlights, the bumpers and all the missing panels back in the next couple of days. So that's another thing we can start to look at building up, getting all them bits and bobs put back on as well. The mirrors, hopefully I'm going to get them painted in the next couple of days and get those bolted on the doors, because obviously they need to go on before we start to install the door cards. Got a little bit of tidying up to do in the engine bay. We're going to be painting out all this black stuff, making it all nice and clean again, satin black and everything. Now I do need to try and find a stencil for that Ferrari that's worn off there. Again, if any of you guys know where I can get that from, so I can get that put back on, because obviously I'm going to have to paint that, so we are going to lose that whole Ferrari sign on there by the time it's all painted. The air intake, just a little bit of paint flaking off there, so this is going to have to be redone and tidied up. All these pipes need a good clean, and just a general tidy up under here really. Little bits like this want taking off and repainting, putting back on just to make it all nice. I am going to be going through the boot and stone chipping it again, and I believe it should have like a rubber padding. This sort of stuff what we have here, this rubber stuff, I think should be lined across that back as well. So I'm going to see if there is a supplier that can get me some of that new rubber and put that in there. And again, all this wiring needs tidying up, cleaning and putting back and routing properly and putting nice and putting where it should be basically. Well yeah, it's not a massive amount of progress, but it is all progress, and I'm very, very pleased with the way this car's turning out. It's going to be a massive learning curve for me. Again, never ever worked on a Ferrari, first time for me, so this is just learning as I go along, and just hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes to plan, everything goes back to where it should be. Keep checking the manuals, double checking everything, make sure everything's good, and fingers crossed this car turns out as well as it should do. But yeah, I think that is all we're going to have time for today, guys. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please drop us some comments, let us know what you think of this build so far. Please like, share and subscribe. We'll see you all on the next video.